Okay, that's looking a little bit better. I think we're all set. Just double checking audio here. That looks good to me. So, welcome everybody. My name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets, and it is March 23rd, 2022. Let's go ahead and get right into some midweek recaps for what to look forward to today, and talk about where the market sits as we are still in this sort of upthrust from the relative lows of the correction. S&P overall sitting inside of its expected move bounds. If you recall from Monday's session, we're looking at approximately a 106-point expected move. So markets kind of opened on Monday. We had a relatively flat overall day. Market actually opened and closed approximately at the same price. And then, of course, yesterday we found another bullish sort of expansion type of day as this uptrend continues. So looking to the top side of this expected move and also considering some resistance points in the market, we're starting to see some potential opportunity for potentially looking at fading this bullish move. Obviously, we're going to need to see a couple things before that can take place, but let's talk about some potential areas of interest as the market continues to climb and as we are starting to see things like some of the volume taper down. What this means is that this rally does have some fuel in regards to short covering and essentially the volume profile of the market, indicative that we are coming from a very high volume shelf. So the market essentially expanding away from this higher volume shelf, pushing into an area of relative high trading interaction for the S&Ps. And as we're climbing without much in the way of consolidation, often we will find ourselves hitting a point of buyer exhaustion. And it simply means that the market needs to find its correction, usually fade back to lower prices and encourage potentially more buyers to enter in at better prices. So where are some areas in the market that we can consider timing this fade? And often the case, where can we find the first sort of daily consolidation range for this move? Well, first and foremost, let's talk about how far has this move gone. And there's a couple ways you can measure this, but we'll go ahead and start off from the all-time high down to the February 24th low. So far, if we're measuring from point to point, this move has taken us approximately 60% higher from that absolute low, of course, measured from the all-time high. Now, if you're a Fibonacci style trader, or if you have some experience with what works in Fibonacci trading, you'll know that we're getting to a very important range for correction or counter trend moves to find some stall. And this area is typically known as 61.8%, or the golden pocket if you're looking at an approximate range. So for the S&P, the move has already completed what I think most Fib traders would say is the counter trend, I would say upthrust, looking for that down play and that corrective move back to the downside. And then, of course, if it wants to continue higher, this is where maybe some Elliott wave or structured wave patterns will come into focus in regards to an ABC corrective wave. But when we're looking at this idea, what are some things that might help us get this move started? Well, first and foremost, we're not quite at 61.8. So the market is hitting this 450 psychological print. And we're seeing a little bit of pre-market weakness this morning. As we start to zoom in and we look at our hourly, we can say, okay, there's a little bit of selling pressure here, but is it really convincing for us as, trend traders and as, interpreting whether the trend is broken or not? Well, first and foremost, the hourly uptrend is still intact. If anything, the hourly uptrend tends to be bought off of the 50-period moving average. So we're seeing the market actually return to a pullback zone that has been working for the next wave of buying pressure. So one thing to watch out for today is if we pull back, and we're pulling back this pre-market, do the bears actually break through this moving average for the first time since this move began? And I'm not necessarily saying a 5-minute breach. I'm talking about an hourly close below this moving average, the first time where it's not really acting as strong support. Secondly, one thing to notice here is that some of this selling pressure came from a very common divergent pattern, which is a rising wedge inside of an uptrend. Usually these rising wedges appear whenever some of the momentum is starting to pause or stall out in the market. And they can occur on the downside, falling wedge style, of which what you're looking for is a breach of the upper or lower bound of that wedge. So usually you're just looking for that divergent signal to confirm, and then of course preparing for the potential of a back test. This is where the market simply comes to this area, potentially even makes a new swing high, but in essence will draw away from this divergent range and move lower, once again breaking trend is the goal here. So market is postured to do these types of things. The question is, are we still fighting the uptrend? And in this case, I think there's a couple of things we can look at today to maybe give us some confidence in the bears as opposed to the bulls. First and foremost, let's look at energy. Now, if you've been watching crude over the past couple of days, you'll notice that we're having an oversold bounce in the crude market. We pulled back pretty strongly from that 130 per barrel, hitting about 95 at the relative lows. And now crude is already back up to about 112 per barrel, at least in the light sweet crude futures. What this has done is provided a lot of pullback opportunity in the energy sector. Now, the sector hasn't necessarily made a new swing high quite yet, but neither has crude. So the structure here is very similar. Crude pulled back, energy pulled back, energy bounce. Crude is pulling into the 20 period and continuing so far this idea of an uptrend. But more specifically, certain stocks in the energy sector are actually making new relative highs. If you've been in the BBT chat room, you know that Oxy has been a stock in play. You'll also look at maybe some of these lower priced and more volatile names. Marathon Oil is a great example. Very strong performance on certain days in the market. And when we look at these days, the S&P isn't necessarily bearish on those days, but it struggles. It tends to not be as expansive as it tended to be last week. Another example, Apache, new relative highs over the past couple of sessions. And then some of our big players, especially in XLE, Chevron and Exxon, both of which having strong performance days on Monday, which was the day that the S&P actually had some back and forth volatility. Now, what's really interesting about this on the short term is that if I pull up the XLE and I draw it down to just the past 5 days on a 5-minute chart, let's pull up the SPY on the same time frame. Let's get all these weird indicators out of the way. That's kind of weird. Zoomed in right here. So let's focus more specifically on the day where the S&P stalled and had some back and forth volatility. Right around here. When we look at energy on that day, which would be the Monday, got some platform troubles here. I'm having trouble zooming in. This is a pretty interesting observation that we've made over the past couple of weeks. Typically on the days that energy is outperforming, either starting strong, moving higher on the session, crude is in focus, energy stocks are actually the ones in the bullish uptrend, the market itself tends to either struggle or actually be a bit bearish. Now, it's not just energy. It's usually a combination of more risk-off type sectors. Metals is another great one to keep on watch. But in general, what you'll notice is that on days where this sector is performing, if you have a watch list of other sectors, for example, the watch list I have here of all the S&P spider ETFs, you'll notice that most of those are actually down. They're not usually very outperformant. And yet what we've seen so far is that the market still continues to climb higher on days where energy underperforms, the days where energy is not in focus and the rest of the market is simply bidding higher. So as we look at some of the moves yesterday, just kind of keeping in mind energy, metals have been where the market tends to gravitate towards in periods of uncertainty, maybe heightened volatility, usually a lack of performance in the S&Ps. We also need to be recognizing what has occurred yesterday. A lot of key stocks had very strong performance. Tesla was one of the key ones, some news out of their new factory in Germany. But, it's worth mentioning here that Tesla came off of its lows at 750 and is already back to 1,000. This is a 25% move for Tesla. It's very powerful. It's about 30% actually, since I'm going from lows. It's a very powerful move, and it's providing some of this momentum for the S&P. So if you want to short the S&P, if you want to fade this move, you kind of don't want to do it whenever Tesla is running higher. If you want to fade the S&P, you don't want to do when Apple is running higher. So we need to kind of see some weakness in our key stocks. Which ones are postured weak at the moment? So far, not really much on the chart. A lot of them are actually not only coming off of major trends, but this fade, whatever that looks like in the S&P, it is something that could be bought, and it needs to be bought in these key stocks for the S&P to really continue its move. We can even look at Google. Really strong day yesterday, kind of breaking out from that consolidation. Every time I say that ticker, my phone comes up with its assistant. And then Amazon. Now, Amazon's a little different. If I'm looking bigger picture here, Amazon does have a very clear trading range. We did test the lows. Took a little bit of time to get off of them, but there was some sort of weekly buying pressure that becomes more obvious as we move away. And then, of course, like the rest of the market, it was in a downtrend. But it was in a downtrend in its trading range. It was simply traversing from high to low in its trading range. So while it did bounce, we are essentially back at fair value. You want to treat this kind of like the IWM last year. This trading range is intact. It's still relevant. And fair value from the market perspective is about 3,200 to 3,300 per share. So when looking at these different stocks, different sectors, who's performing, who's not. Some of them have moved against the dominant trend. Some of have moved with. But if you're going to fade it, if you're going to try and find a moment to short this, intraday, obviously maybe look for risk off type sectors to be the ones leading. And bigger picture, if these pullbacks get bought, then you really don't have as much of a bearish case anymore on the S&P, because if Amazon, Google, Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia are all moving higher, then what is the bearish case for the S&P? These stocks are the dominant forces in the market. And you would need pretty much every other component of the S&P being very weak in order for this to even be countered, for that opposite play to come into focus. So, as we kind of shift around, we'll look at a couple of different other sectors here. Something like a healthcare. Very strong recovery in healthcare, but we are at resistance. So looking at the market maybe as we did back in mid-2021, where you have things like sector rotation taking place day in and day out. Maybe tech is strong one day. Tesla or just communication stocks are taking the lead. Everybody's excited. And then the next day, those stocks take a break. They pause, they sell, they just don't move forward. On that day, if healthcare, for example, takes the lead, the S&P will still have the forces needed to move higher, because healthcare is a big component. Tech takes a break. Now healthcare is taking a break. What about financials? This idea of sort of the main three sectors. Which ones are moving up? Which ones are moving down? Is it done in tandem or in correlation? Like, are they all moving up at the same time? Are they all moving down at the same time? If not, as long as you have a leader, the S&P from a bullish perspective tends to be relatively healthy, because you'll have those forces holding the market as other sectors take a day or two of break. And then if those expand, the S&P continues to just kind of push forward. So as a bull in the market, you want to be aware of these forces. They kind of drive some of the order flow back and forth. They also can be sort of a bullish and bearish case for your next round of trading. You may not want to step into this bullish momentum. You think it's gone too far, the upside's kind of limited. You're waiting for the pullback. But as a bear, you also might be saying, well, this pullback in the S&P might be all that I get. And then the next round of buying might occur somewhere around VPOC, somewhere around the retracement line, which should be acting as support on the back test. And then, of course, from a bigger picture here, volatility is down. So seeing that fear re-enter the market would be a great bearish signal for the S&P. Seeing things like volatility futures go back into a more flat structure. Right now, not only are they in contango, but this is starting to widen. The fear is alleviating from the market. So if you're looking for that counterplay, that bearish, sell swing, the market has to align itself back into what we just saw, which was fear and uncertainty, maybe another black swan type event, weak bullish momentum on the fade, and potentially seeing some more bearish volume whenever the market does decide to pull back, more conviction by the bears. Otherwise, if you're stepping into this and kind of expecting it to stop, the market may pause for a couple days, but this potential to keep going, and the fact that this is a pretty complex analysis for the S&P, it takes a lot to get the market aligned bearish. You have to have the right sectors in play. They have to be bearish at the right time. And on the short term, definitely look at energy as one of those risk on, risk off kind of indicators. If energy's up, the S&P has a decent chance of not being that strong. If energy's down, the rest of the sectors tend to be up, and those are the ones carrying the market. So all in all, for today, I think if you're looking across the board, you might be looking to see, is tech still going to have that outperformance? Last session, tech actually had a very strong bid underneath it, but it also broke out from the 38.2. If you're looking at a weekly bear flag, this is not a good thing for the bears because they do not want to see bulls give themselves enough room to buy the next pullback. They want these momentum plays to be short-lived and usually relatively weak. Take off this study. It's kind of blurring the chart here. But bear flags tend to have weaker pullbacks. They tend to look more like this, where you have a bottom, market pulls up, but it can't really expand much further. It makes that lower high, and then of course it continues the downtrend. Now that we're starting to expand higher, we have to be looking at different scenarios in the future. For one, the Qs can keep going. They can hit that 50%, maybe even up to 61.8. They can fade from there. They can pull down another 20, 30 points, maybe out in April and May. But then from there, we have big ranges to play. It's not really a bull or bear market at that point. It's almost like a back and forth trading range. There's going to be a lot of counterplay in between that we'll be able to posture around, especially if you're not looking purely directional. There'll be selling opportunities, high premium opportunities for the option market if we get some more volatility events. And then the idea that, you know, the markets don't necessarily have to move in one direction. They can have counterplay on the big picture. And even in the case of this correction waning in bullish volume, the fade, you know, that'll be what we're looking for first. So that's QQQ, very similar to the SPY, but it's actually still has room, you know, to continue this climb. And if Qs are going, if Qs are bullish, it's hard to be bearish the S&P. You know, the Qs and the SPY are very close cousins. If the Qs are bullish, it's, you know, the S&P has a good chance to continue its uptrend. Last but not least, the IWM. Now, this is an odd analysis from a technical sense because we all know where this market came from. This market came from a trading range. It broke down, set some lows, back tested the lower bound of its trading range, and yet over the course of the past couple months has really not continued its downtrend. It hasn't been weak. It's just been paused. What we're seeing right now is the first signs of life here in regards to a breakout of the retracement. It's a little odd because we're still at resistance. We're still at this swing high here. But if we start to see a signal for an upthrust, a really clear daily indication that we're back in the trading range, keep your trading mindset similar to what we had last year, because the volume profile says that if we go bullish, we're probably going to go to VPOC. That's what we've done historically. That's what this market tends to do, and it's what the market deems as the fairest price over the past year and a half. So if you're bullish, the IWM might be a good area to keep an eye on, because if we break into that trading range and push to VPOC, it essentially resets what we had last year, where we can have moves to the upside, we can fade those back to VPOC. We have moves to the downside, we can buy those back to VPOC. We have small breakouts and breakdowns. Some of those might even gravitate back. But if we're back in our trading range, the rules still apply. You know, buy the low, sell the high, target the middle. So all in all, these areas of interest are important for the market and they still have relevance. What we're looking at now is this correction going to bring us back to these areas? And from there, should we play a fade or should we look for the pullback buy and continue this current correction trend? That'll be up for us to kind of interpret as it forms. But for now, looking at the S&P, I would say start anticipating the idea of a pullback. We haven't even had daily consolidation yet. We've had 1 day of pause, but the market still made a higher high and a higher low. So anticipate it. We'll see how it forms. Short term, we'll be looking for sector strength and weakness. We'll be looking for the hourly uptrend to break. We'll be looking at some, short-term signals here of just VPOC and getting extended from the value range. And then from there, we'll start to interpret what sectors might be in focus moving forward. For me, I'm definitely keeping an eye on healthcare. It's already back at resistance. Trading range has applied. There's one little uptick here, but these levels are set back in time. Financials, keeping an eye on that for this back test. Want to see if that's going to be bought or sold. And then, of course, energy, the one that has continued to be in focus and has been sort of a short-term signal as to whether or not the market's going to outperform or underperform on that day. So great intraday, bigger picture, and even market cycle sort of sectors to focus on for the rest of the week. So with that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Market. We'll talk more tomorrow, and we'll cover a bit more about the federal fund rate along with some of the yield curve inversion. And then we'll wrap up our week and open it up to the room. So until then, stay tuned for pre-market prep, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, my friends. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing very good. Doing very good. Again, I don't know how many people on YouTube can hear us or not, but there are issues with the YouTube platform. So it's not just us. So some people can see us live, some cannot. Hopefully it's able to get fixed pretty quick here. So with that said, guys, let's get right into it. I mean, our gappers list this morning looking pretty good. A couple of well-known names gapping up this morning, including GME, which if you guys were paying any type of attention yesterday, this thing was just insane. Huge squeeze yesterday with a couple of catalysts coming out with their chairman there and so forth. So we'll see how that goes. So a couple of other stuff on there, and then a few gapping down. A lot of the Chinese stocks here, except my good old buddy Baba. I think is up this morning 1.5 or 1.1 million. So it's not on the gappers list yet, but that one is definitely very active this morning, gapping up again. So we'll get into all of that today, see what's happening there. A couple of things from yesterday, starting with, of course, Baba, which continues to trade very well. They are up this morning nicely. Good active pre-market activity today so far. Yesterday, guys, they traded very, very well as far as gapping up, pre-market action, a couple of runs here in the intraday. Here is Neo. This was my trade on Neo yesterday. Just an incredible takeoff on Neo. It took a bit to get going here with some very deep pullbacks, but for the most part, what a beautiful breakout above the high of the day. And you can see how well that traded yesterday. Then pretty much flat after it did this one move here. Here's Mara. Mara had a nice initial pop, a little bit of a continuation. Then from there, didn't do a whole lot in a couple of stretches here. You did get a nice little drop here around close to noontime. You can see how nice that went right to VWAP and just kind of blew right through it. So that was nice to see. Nike traded well, guys. I'm shocked I missed Nike yesterday. Look at this beautiful drop here, losing the VWAP again. It just couldn't stay above it. And then from here, after this time frame, it trades very well. Megan had an incredible trade on Nike yesterday. And she also had an incredible webinar too, guys. So if you missed the webinar, the recording should be up later today. Here is Apple, also extremely clean. Apple, this is the second day I think Apple trades this clean. I think yesterday, day before, traded also very clean. Look at this beautiful pop it gets here. This is a healthy pullback, guys, coming right back down to the VWAP, finding some more buyers, and then right back towards the high of the day on the next candle. That was very nice there. Great continuation. And then Oxy didn't have such a great day yesterday. A little bit all over the place with the pops and drops. Just some very aggressive movements on it. Eventually, this settled down for a nice drop, finding a beautiful base around 58.80, and then going back to the VWAP. So you did get some good opportunities. And this is why we like Oxy, guys, because you can see here how clean and well this trades compared to other oil type companies where you're not getting the volume, you're not getting the clean movement as you did on Oxy here. So, and of course, we cannot end talking about yesterday without speaking of GME. So yesterday went from 91, guys, nothing going on in the pre-market, but you can see the squeeze happening here all the way to 124. And they were not done there. After hours, they also ran up to 145. So just insane what's happening there. So with that, let's go over to yes, absolutely. So the squeeze on from the apes definitely in full effect yesterday on GameStop. Let's take a look at the latest and greatest on the overall market. Norm, what do we got for us?
You can see almost everything on the gap down list is foreign, with the majority of it being China. It's just back and forth with that. You know, one day we're getting news that they're supporting the markets. The next day there's issues and they're gapping back down. I think they're selling the pops there. I can't 100% be sure on that, but it just seems like every time they pop up, it gets sold into. And then oil, Oxy, BP, Shell, Marathon, HUSA, just a whole lot of oil on the upside there with the big spike in oil prices this morning. Everybody's talking about the yield curve this morning. Everybody seems to be an expert on that now. It was everybody was an epidemiologist now. Then about a month ago, everybody was a war strategist, and now yield curve experts. So anyway, yeah, they're close to inverting. We'll see if it happens. Every once in a while they get close and then they diverge again. So who knows if they'll actually the 2s 10s will actually go negative. No idea. It's an interesting time, that's for sure. I suspect we'll have some chop in here.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm. I'm here in the background laughing on mute because you're so right. Everybody becomes an expert on whatever is trending at that time.
It's amazing. That's the internet these days.
It's great.
Like you go back 20 years and you couldn't do that. Now everybody knows, what's going on.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to it, guys. Let's remove our stuff from yesterday. Control A, Control X gets rid of that list there, and we will start over here looking at Oxy this morning. They are up nicely, 3.2. Definitely going to add them to our list, guys. They can trade very, very well. So Oxy is in play for us here. Actually, let me scroll back up to start at the top. All G is what is this here? We are up 28%. Looks like a recent IPO because I don't have anything past the 17 on this. So it's just not a whole lot of info on that front. And on top of that, volume and pre-market's not looking great. Yes, it's gapping up 28% because we're from $8 to about 10, as high as 13.50. We've done that in the past. The first time opened up and came back down. So again, interesting daily here, but I'm not a fan.
It's foreign.
It is
foreign. I
okay.
believe it's registered in the Netherlands. It is an EV charging company in Europe. So, yeah, I mean, while it's gapped up big this morning, they're tough, man. Those European tickers can generally be pretty difficult.
Yeah, especially just starting out here, guys. I mean, also the volume, guys. All this move is happening here. Look at this, 3.5 million their first day. Second day, 3.5. They haven't gone over 3.5. Looks like it's just a very extreme light volume for the moves that it's making. Cautious if you're going to be trading that. Here's GameStop, definitely in play today from all the action yesterday. They're up 8% right now. 800, almost 900,000 shares traded at the moment. Guys, cannot tell you how risky this stock is, right? You guys know already. Got to be very, very careful. I'm going to put it here on my risky pile. It's not a low flow stock, but you got to be mindful of your share size and of trading that stock at all, right? Sometimes it could be the price action could be irrational at times, as we've seen many times. Here's KO. And the news on this, right? There was the chairman is buying back some shares, right? He's buying back some shares.
Not buying back. He's just buying. He bought 100,000 shares yesterday. Ryan Cohen, who is closely followed by the Reddit stock trading community. They consider him a god. Some hope he is their father. And when that happens,
everybody gets riled up.
Yeah.
Oh man,
all right, very odd obsession.
I agree. But it worked for them yesterday pretty well, guys. 95 to 125, as high as 140, and today they're up another 8% here this morning. Here's AMC. Not sure if they have any news, but they're like a GME's little stepbrother, right? So when GME gets going, they tend to be another stock that also reacts. This morning they're up 3.7, 3.1 million shares traded. Also in play, guys. Again, they're not as risky as GameStop. I think that it's a little more manageable. GameStop tends to be. You think they're up there as well? I find GameStop to be a little more.
They're both
crazy.
They're both. I don't know.
Yeah.
Half dozen of one, 6 of the other. I don't know.
I could agree on that. Both in play, guys, this morning. 3.1 million shares traded so far, so it definitely got some really, really good volume here. We have Oxy already on deck. That's good. As Norm mentioned, a couple of oil companies here gapping up today. We have Oxy is probably the best one. Looking through these BP, HUSA, again, they're just not as clean, and it's just not as clean when it comes to intraday trading. MRO looked like it had actually a decent day yesterday, but Oxy is the way to go there. All right, let's take a look over what's gapping down. A lot of the Chinese companies here that have been doing very well over the last couple of days are in the red. I think Baba is the only one that is not so far. I'm going to add Baba here because they've been trading extremely well there, but they're getting there. They're dropping here. As you can see, below 116. They were as high as 119 earlier today, now down to 116 here, 115. We have Billy down as well, 4.2. We have Futu. I mean, they're just all down here. PDD, JD, XBEV. I mean, take your pick, guys. Everything is in the red this morning. Oh, Bucket is making an appearance here, down 4.4. With a very high short interest.
Just popped up, didn't it?
Yeah, just really popped up.
It just got 100,000 shares. That's why.
Oh, okay. Not looking clean. I mean, we'll have Baba here. Definitely JD. Could be as a possible. I don't want to stack up the list here with just Chinese tickers. Let's see which one looks the best. Futu actually looked pretty decent. Futu and Billy. Billy seems pretty good this morning as far as volume and
Might
the
you
way of the
say
chart.
F you to you, Billy?
F you to you, Billy. Yeah. So F you to you there, also dropping. So you take your pick, guys. I'm not gonna go crazy here. But you have a ton of Chinese stocks down this morning, as you can see here, as Norm mentioned just a few minutes ago. All right, that's what we have. Norm, anything you like on your end that you're gonna be keeping an eye on this morning?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything that's great this morning so far.
No, nothing here is. I mean, look what we have. We have AMC, which we know how crazy they can be. We have Oxy, which is it's okay. Yeah, this is not very
I mean,
slim
we still
pickings
got
today.
50 minutes till the market opens. Things
Yeah,
will change. There will be
yep,
news. Things will happen today. But as of right now, I'm not seeing anything that really sticks out to me that looks amazing.
yep. Looking pretty light for sure, guys. And on days like this, we don't have to go crazy fishing for stuff, right? If it doesn't look great, guys, we do not have to add it onto the list. We can have a very short list and just wait to see what the market gives us at the market open, right? You know, for matter of fact, you'll be watching some of the ones that trade very well. I'll be watching Apple, right?
Some people are
Apple,
calling out Neo.
Neo. Let's take a look
And
at
I'll have
Neo.
to agree, that's one of the better looking ones, despite the
It
fact
is,
that
yeah.
it's really kind of been rough recently. But
hmm
yeah,
it is, yeah. It is one of the better looking ones this morning. Neo and Baba. Those two have been trading slightly better out of all the Chinese stocks, right? JD once in a while puts in a good day, but Baba and Neo are doing okay. What's going on with BA? I know no news is coming out for some time on that, but it's just curious to see how they're standing this morning. Pretty quiet, just kind of hanging out,
yeah,
hoping that that has nothing to do with their equipment. We'll see where that goes.
doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't.
I don't think it does. I
There's
don't. Yeah,
there's close to 5,000 of those 737
yeah,
-8s,
yeah,
and
yeah. I agree. Fairly new aircrafts as well. I mean, there's probably one of the safest out there. So something strange, man. Something strange there. Um. All right, let's take a look, guys, on what you guys like this morning. A couple of you guys throwing out TLRY, Goose, Lenny. Let's see here, Bradley, Walco. Yeah, oh no, that's Tesla. TLRY. Let's take a look at that one first. TLRY this morning. They're gapping up pretty nice, and they're dropping here up 6.3, still 1.2 million. Look at the pop yesterday. What they had going on yesterday? TLRY. I don't know. I have no idea what they had going on, but definitely a good pop here yesterday. I mean, I haven't traded this stock in a very long time, guys. So I'm not sure how they're trading nowadays. Definitely in play. I'll put it here. We'll look into a little bit more. They got great volume this morning. That I give it to them. A 1.2 million. So that's definitely something going on there. XOM. So Grog, I prefer to watch Oxy. I think XOM is another one you can also take a look at, but Oxy seems to be, out of all these oil companies, man, Oxy seems to be the cleanest trading one, right?
yeah.
So that's what we keep
If you
that
just
one
have
on there.
if you just have an average day, and then none of them have some extraordinary news that sets themselves apart 100%.
Yep. I agree. Here we go. All right, so let's take a look here. What else we have? ACB. All right, so is anything going on with the past stocks? ACB here. No, that's not in play. At least now, I don't see anything happening at the moment there, Bradley.
It's trash.
Yeah, that's not at all. And even if when they are in play, that seems to be not the best one. I think TRY. We don't even hear from CGC anymore like we used to, right? Those things are just completely died from when they were heavily in play back in the days there. All right. And NVIDIA.
That's what happens,
Wait,
man.
TRY
You
and
smoke every day and it gums up your works.
that's true. So TRY and NVIDIA are doing a partnership. Okay, so that's good news for TRY. NVIDIA shouldn't move a whole lot because of that, right? That's not going to affect NVIDIA. But we'll keep it on TRY. We'll see how that is going to affect them at the market open. All right, and you used to work for CGC. Nice. So yeah, CGC here is it's just nothing going on there. All right, guys, pretty slim pickings. We're not gonna push it here. I'm gonna check over on YouTube, see what you guys have on your end. If you guys can even hear me or see me, we'll see there.
Yeah, it's weird on you. I'll tell you, it's weird on YouTube. Every time I refresh, it tells us we have 450-ish viewers, and then a few seconds later, it ticks down, and we have 1 like and 1 waiting. So
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really strange.
yeah. This morning I told
Not
Jared,
us though. Can't do anything about it.
yeah, I told Jared to hold on the stream. I don't see it. He's like, no, I see it. And he went, and I'm like, okay, I don't see it, but yeah, something strange there. All right, cool, guys. I mean, we are going to go to announcements now, unless we have anything else. I mean, it's pretty light at the moment. We'll take a few from here. Phil's giving us CCL, light volume at the moment. Yeah, just stuck in this heavy consolidation at the moment between 1950 and what seems to be 1850. Not a whole lot going on. And again, we definitely needs a lot more volume. They had earnings, when was it? Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday after the bell, right? They had earnings in their call and all of that. So
Yeah.
nothing really changed. I mean, it's pretty much stayed flat, right? So there was nothing that hit this
It's a
thing
hella
that was.
chop though, right there.
Oh yeah, this is mad.
But that's when their call was going on. I
Yeah.
mentioned it yesterday.
You did.
Right when their
Yeah,
call was
yeah.
going on.
Yeah, I mean, how do
That
you?
was the
Yeah,
problem.
it's I don't know how you trade that. So yeah, guys, let's go to our community events and announcements. We'll be done a little bit early today as far as our regular routine, and we can get to some conversations with Q&A. We can get to a couple of things there after we're done with this. Yep.
Gonna have fun.
Yes.
All
Actually,
right.
Let me back
What's
up
that?
on you there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go. Just back it up. You ready? All
Yep,
right.
good.
Kyle's webinar's posted, I believe. Next week, 8 p.m., we'll have already talked about how to utilize TWS for options trading. Should be a great webinar. Be sure to tune in there. I just want to say a big shout out. Our first woman presenter of a strategy webinar was last night, Megan. That should be up soon. In honor of her and inflation, let's throw up this Twitter picture I took yesterday. Thanks to Artie for pointing it out to me. Everybody's been joking about this ridiculous Bloomberg opinion article saying anybody that is below the poverty line of $300,000 a year can do these things to cut back and save on fuel. Carlos, can you throw that up? Hello?
Yep. It's coming up here.
All right. You've heard all these ridiculous things. No driving on Sunday. People can only drive every other day. One of the best is, of course, food prices and lentils. So lentils has been making a big joke on, or been a big joke on Twitter. Don't leave me hanging.
No, it's coming. It's coming. Here it is.
That's how boring lentils are. It takes this long to make them.
Yes. Oh man, how fast you can get something trending here. All right, here we go.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Let's go move that right over here for you guys.
Goldman Sachs gives first-year legal chief $17.5 million. Carl Smith, CFA, says no lentils for her. No, she's making over the $300,000 a year mark, so she can afford not lentils. So anyway, for you, Megan, lentils are good, just not as a replacement for meat. Anyway, that was a little bit, it was anticlimactic. We'll get faster on those. Anyway, how to use larger time frames. We got plenty of time this morning because we're like 10 minutes ahead here.
Oh yeah.
So how to use larger time frames to catch bigger moves should be posted soon. And the next week, Peter's going to be talking about how to determine the right share size for yourself, which he's done that webinar a number of times over the years. It's very informative, very helpful. All right. Tonight, this is Wednesday. Mike's going to be talking about handling pressure involved in trading. That's at 5 p.m. Saw another great one. We could have used a picture for this, talking about, I'll see if I can find it. Maybe we can present it tomorrow. We'll practice on getting faster there. And then how to, next week, Mike, 8 p.m. Eastern. And that is at 8 p.m., guys, tonight, not 5. Sorry, that's a typo. It's correct on the site now, but this has not been updated. The next week, how to trade in strategy sets, talking about probabilities next week, 8 p.m. Eastern. Mentorship Thursdays, 11 a.m. Will not be Andrew tomorrow. He will be traveling. Then Ed at 4 p.m. I believe John's taking that over. Should be very exciting. Might have a special guest every once in a while as well. Mentorship with Thor, 8 p.m. Eastern. That is Thursday. StockTradingSimulator.com. Don't forget about our free web-based trading replay simulator. You can go there. Don't spam the list or sell it. You can sign up for homework assignments that are sent to you a couple times a week. And if you're watching on YouTube, which who knows if anybody is or if they even care about listening to this rambling on, you can come and check out the chat room for a no obligation 1 week. Use the promo code premarket24 to get a discount off the trial. That does not recur, doesn't renew itself. Also, use the promo code Lucky50 to get half off the annual elite membership. Man, I can't even talk this morning.
No worries, my friend. All right, guys, let's get to it here. Our list right now, we have a couple of things that are in here. We have Baba, we have Oxy, we have Oxy actually taking off here, ripping above the 6156. Apple, Neo, and a TLRY. So we'll do levels for this. Again, I'm not a big fan. I don't think this is going to be my final list. I think this is going to change as things get better and we get closer to that 930. But we'll do levels for this so we are ready. And then we can have a little bit of some Q&A, just getting some conversations here in the pre-market this morning. So let's get rid of some levels here on Oxy. Our highs and lows of the last 2 trading days doing a pretty good job here, guys. I'm just going to mark down the high of the pre-market right now, which is 61.91. So we'll throw a level there. And then above that, we have the highs from a couple of days ago. And then your other levels up above here are not until some going back to like 2019 or even further. I can't remember the exact year, but they're quite a bit of ways from where we are right now. So I'm not going to go back there and look at those. But you have this here. You are pretty much set there. AMC, guys, high of the pre-market 2062. This thing was just, again, yesterday just went nuts, 16 to 18. GameStop also in that type of play yesterday, just being very aggressive, getting a nice short squeeze on the way there. High of the pre-market being confirmed by a nice daily level. You can see here a couple of areas where we tested that as support and as resistance. And then up here, we got another beautiful level around 20 to 58. This can be another great area of support and resistance as well. We'll see if AMC is looking to head in that direction. Right now, heading down towards the previous day close, towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Here is Baba, guys. This stock has been very good to trade. They gapped up pretty nice today, and they're giving some of that back here in the pre-market. Their gap was as high as a 119.78. So interesting action this morning already, only up 1% as of now. Low of the pre-market 115.63, and then you got your previous day close towards the bottom. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days also here towards the bottom, creating some good support levels for you. Towards the top, look at the high of that pre-market. No coincidence. You got a nice area of support and resistance, more support than anything happening around that 119.78. Above that, very clear level, guys, here, 128.19. I mean, you cannot miss that level, how clear that is. There is a midpoint area here where I'm seeing a couple of touches on several days here around 125. You can see here there's some days opening, closing right around that area. So you can mark that there as well. That could be an area of interest if Baba does decide to head towards the top here. Here is Apple. Apple, for the most part, pre-market action. It's got some good volume, down a little bit this morning. But, man, Apple has put in a green day ever since the 15th here, right? A couple of times gapping down, but still ending the day green, right? They gap down here. I think they gap down almost every day. Well, no, they almost opening flat, gap down here slightly, and managed to just get the staircase going here to the northeast side. So gapping down again today. We'll see how this is going to end. I mean, Apple just ripping, guys, from 150 to 167, doing pretty cool stuff there. As far as levels, we do have 167.60. That is our lower pre-market at the moment. We'll see if that's going to hold there. And then below that, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Towards the top, previous day close, and you have the highs from yesterday. Plus, we got this 171.58 level that's still pretty good. You can see how great that level is. Nice support and resistance across the board there, and that 171. There might be a level in here as well. That'll be a minor area of support and resistance, maybe 170. But I won't mark that just yet there. Here is NEO, guys. NEO, 1.2 million shares traded. So out of the Chinese stocks, they're all down this morning. Baba is the only one that's slightly up, but not looks like not for long, getting towards the bottom of that 1%. Well, hanging on over 1%. Everything else in the red for the most part. So here's NEO that's leading the way, looking pretty nice this morning. Low of the pre-market, 21.34. I definitely like these two. They've been trading very clean, guys, whether it's long or short. Their price action has been very, very nice. High of the pre-market, 22.35. Above that, we do have another great level here at 23.32. But we'll slam a level there. We're all set when it comes to NEO in that area. All right, looking pretty good here, guys. So that is all set. Towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. TLRY has got some good volume, I have to say. 1.4 million shares traded. Possible partnership, or is it a possible partnership, guys, or is this thing happening? Is it what's going on here? Nvidia, let me see. No, I have Nvidia news, but I don't have any TRY news on my list here. On my daily oracle that our friend Hamish sends me every morning. Thank you. I appreciate the work you put in to get that prepared. High of the pre-market, 655 on this. Towards the bottom, we're looking at 598. So I slam a level there as well. Again, nice rip after hours yesterday. So this must be when the news broke out. And today we're kind of reacting to this morning, the pre-market with some volume, but we're giving a lot of that back. So I wonder how strong this thing is as far as a catalyst.
No,
Right?
I just want to clarify. There's no partnership, even though it sounds like a match made in heaven with Nvidia and Tilray, with getting stoned and gaming.
That's perfect. That's a perfect combination.
There is no such partnership. They were talking about Lucid and Nvidia. Nvidia had their investor day conference yesterday, announced some stuff. Lucid announced they were partnering with them, excuse me, for some AI tech in their cars. The Tilray, the Tilray thing has to do with takeover of a smaller. I'm not sure. I don't think it was public. I think it might have been a private one, being bought out, and some other things. Maybe some.
Got it. Yep.
Some board changes in the space as well. So anyway.
Yeah. Yes, Mike's. Yeah, we know YouTube is acting really funky across the board. It's not just us, by the way. It's across the board. There's some funky stuff happening today. I'm sure they'll get it figured out by the time we go live again tomorrow. So TRY, guys, again. Not sure how strong that's going to be. There's another level here I'm going to mark down over at 698, just so we can have this all set there. And we are looking pretty good as far as levels on TRY. Again, they got great volume today. I'm just not sure how well this is going to trade as it comes back down towards that previous day close line. It might not be as great anymore. We don't have shares for short. So with that said, I'm even going to put this down on my secondary list. I just noticed that. I don't want to be handicapped on this stock, especially with the way it's moving now, looking rather weak. This pop is not finding no support at all. All right. That's our list so far, guys. I don't think it's going to stay this way. And some of these here are not looking all that great to begin with. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll take a look at our moderators lineup a little bit later. We're done before 9 a.m. with levels and everything. I mean, this got to be a record. This has to be a record.
It's kind of a crappy day. I'll say that. It might be it's speaking of marijuana stocks, it might be a better day to just go get stoned and stare at a wall.
Or do some gaming. Right? I mean, Nvidia, someone mentioned that one. No, I don't see anything good in Nvidia right now. I think it's pretty quiet. I mean, it's always one to watch, right? We know Nvidia can get going. They're going to get the volume. And if they can pick a direction, they can trade very well, as you see here. But right now, it's not sticking out as a stock that is heavily being watched or in play. That can change, obviously. But around that tech sector, I'm just going to look at Apple when something like this looks so dead at the moment. So pretty quiet day to start, guys. Let's get to some Q&As. If anybody has any questions, we could definitely have the time to answer some of them. We could do some of that, and then we can do our moderators lineup in a little bit. Oh, my feed on YouTube came back. All right, there you go. Very nice. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Checking the chat for any possible questions. Carlos, what do you think about Oxy as a short? I don't think in that way at the moment, but I'll be careful if you're going to short this. I mean, right now it's strong. At some points, I look at a stock and say, okay, this could be a possible short. But I'm just gonna wait for the market open and see what it tells me. I mean, many times we see stocks like this gap up and sell off, or rip higher above this level. I think does a short look better if it gets resistance here? Yeah, maybe, but I wouldn't know until the market open, right? So I can tell you, I think this is a good opportunity for a short. There's some that do look like that, right? You look at some stocks and you're like, okay, this one, I like this one for a short. I don't like this one in any direction right now. Oh, I don't have a preference. So maybe that's a better word. My main strategy is the opening range breakup, but I gotta tell you, that's the overall main strategy. But it's been breakouts. I mean, this market, Norm, correct me if I'm wrong. What are you trading nowadays as far as a strategy? Breakouts seem to be the thing. I mean,
Only about 2 seconds because I don't want to
yes,
copyright. I don't
uh,
want to copyright strike.
yeah,
But
the-
that's kind of what I'm thinking of for today. What
yeah,
now?
yeah.
What'd you ask me? I apologize. I was
A
goofing off.
strategy. What is a strategy you've been trading lately? I've been trading breakouts. I mean, even
I usually trade breakouts. I
yeah,
had a nice little news trade on Playboy yesterday.
yeah, yeah.
There was news, some NFT news that came out middle of the day. But I mean, my stick to my tried and trues, my opening range breakouts and some reversals here and there. But
Yeah, yep. I agree. The 5 minute guys
uh,
during this type of market is tough because what happened, and I know this because I look for the 5 minute open range breakup all the time. Things get extended so quickly. This market is so volatile that by the time you wait
it's
the 5 minutes, the move is gone, and now you gotta really wait for a pullback. Great example, Neo yesterday.
I
Um,
haven't been. I'll be frank. I haven't been trading as much this month. I mean, I've been out some, but I also haven't been trading
that's
as
true.
much this
Yeah.
month as I normally do. I have actually spent some time in Ed's room trying to
Mm-hmm.
learn from him because no matter how long you've been doing this, you can always learn new things.
Oh yeah, absolutely, especially from Ed. Here's an example, right? You're getting a lot of this. You're getting the pop and then the drop back to the VWAP, and then the moves happen. So, and actually, this is not as extended as I thought it was. There's times where this thing gets just too extended, and you just can't jump in for that 5 minute, right? You're better off waiting a couple of minutes and see what happens there. So breakouts have been pretty nice. Look at this breakout from the high of the day. That's another great one there too. That's been my go-to in the last couple of weeks, really. So.
Somebody's asked if I've ever done a webinar. I have, but it's been a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a terrible educator, guys. I don't have the patience for it. These other guys are way better than me. My best my best attribute is knowing the news and being able to spit it out. So that's what I stick to.
Yep, yep. Um, I haven't done some in a while neither. I got one
We
coming
used to
up for trade
we do one
ideas.
every Wednesday or every Monday to be clear.
Well, yeah. I did the onboarding class every month. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Norm, can you share one of your things that you have learned from him so far? So many. Yeah, there's so many from Ed.
He is. I'll tell you, man. He is the most patient individual, and I don't know that I can say I've learned it yet, but I'm still. I mean, I don't get to spend a ton of time over there because I'm either in this room doing the pre-market show, doing my own trading, doing back end work for BBT or PCT. So I don't get. But a lot of times I'll listen to Ed. The amount of patience he has to be able to do his all day trades and not even look at the damn thing. And I'll look at it and I'll be like, wow, he's
Yeah, yeah,
down $3. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm not even looking at it. By the end of the day, he's right. He's an amazing, amazing trader. If you
yeah.
haven't had a
Yeah,
chance, and Andrew is as well, and a lot of the people in here are, but they're usually on shorter time frames. That all day hold that he is just amazing. Check it out. He's
yeah,
in case you guys don't know, we don't talk about it a ton in here during the pre-market show, but we uh, Ed Ed Martin, Average Joe Trader, he's on our website now, has his own room here at Bear Bull Trader. So come check it out. If you do the intro membership we talked about, get access to that as well for a week. So
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you couldn't pick two different examples of trading between Andrew and Ed.
Complete polar opposites, which is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what we wanted to go for, right? I mean, there's so
Yep.
many different ways to trade the market. We want to provide you guys with two different, completely different styles, and you try them both and see what works best for you. Again, the amazing thing about trading is how many ways you can trade it. which that also becomes the difficult part of it, because there's no one way to do things. So you gotta try until you find your edge. Once you find your edge and what you're good at, that is when things start to click here. Let's go into Ed's room. Let's go into Ed's room and see what's going on there, because we got not much
While
going
you
on
do that,
here.
I'm going to answer a question. Kenneth
Yeah,
just
sure.
asked me an interesting question. It says, are layoffs a negative catalyst?
Depends.
And the answer to that is it depends. I've seen it trade both ways, and that's the weird thing about the market. It depends on how that's interpreted. If you have a company, especially a growth company, if you have a high growth company, one of these newer ones that maybe they don't have any, they're not, excuse me, making any profit yet, but they're getting rewarded for potential future income, profit growth, and they have layoffs, that is a terrifying signal that story isn't coming to fruition. If you have a legacy company that's already profitable, been around for a while, and maybe has some layoffs, that can actually be a positive thing, because they're cutting cost and it'll increase their profitability. So it just depends on on the company.
What was
and
the
the
company
circumstances.
that we had a ticker do that recently, where they were not doing well, but they were making changes and cutting people and cutting this and that, and they actually gapped up that day because that's what the investors want. They want them to make change. I forgot the name of it. It was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, before you went on travel, so it was a bit ago.
Piton?
I think it was Piton, right? And they had gapped
Yeah.
up that time, right? Yeah, the change in direction and
And see, that's another one. Once again, Piton is actually the former in the it's one of those companies that's not profitable yet. Actually, it loses a ton of money. But I think also that was kind of an outlier in the sense, during the pandemic, they exploded so much, and I think the cutting there, people might have, and here's another twist on that. They make themselves a little bit leaner to try to get ready for an acquisition, to be acquired by somebody. That could have been part of that as well. So
that's true.
I might have been on vacay when that came out, but
yeah, may make the company numbers look slightly better there. Here's Ed's room, guys. You get access to this over on YouTube. And for those new members, if you haven't spent time here, you should definitely do that. Here's his list today. He's watching NVIDIA, Facebook, AMD, PayPal, SQ, UPST, and Microsoft. And I'm checking to see if he is in any trades, because Ed trades pre-market. He trades.
He does not trade pre-market.
He does not. I seen him. No, I seen him in.
No, he doesn't.
I see
those
him
are swings.
trades.
If he has it, it's swings.
Oh, those are swings. Okay, that
he's
makes
got
sense.
a hard.
Yeah,
he trades aftermarket. He has a strict rule about no pre-market trading.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
He will have swings. He might do something about those pre-market.
Gotcha. Yes, because I definitely see his position window, because you'll have it up here, and I see him in trades. I'm like, oh, look, he's in this already. But you're right. That is probably a swing stuff, which he does amazing on as well. I mean, the guy, he does really well in swing trading too. I mean, not swing trading, earnings play. He does incredible. So, so you guys got options here. So definitely check him out.
Just if you gonna clutch your pearls about bad language, don't go in Ed's room.
Yeah,
we keep it pretty chill in here, and we're pretty strict about bad language and politics and everything else. Ed's room he refers to it as the jungle. So
jungle.
Just be careful over there.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, if you're a little bit if you're a little bit on the sensitive side, you got your disclaimer right here. All right, guys, let's see what our moderators have. I mean, we're still pretty early. We got some time for some more questions. Actually, it's only 9:10. We got 20 minutes here. We'll check our gappers list, see if anything has popped up. I see GameStop, AMCs are here already. Nothing new that we like. How about gapping down? ADB. So this one has some
tough.
Some bad
That's
news.
A tough intraday trader.
Yeah, yeah. They're not great. That's for sure.
It has its moments, but
yep, I agree. What's up, everybody? Boeing. I think Boeing's just gonna be going flat for a while here, guys. That's my take.
Did you say what's up with Boeing? That's kind of
all
right.
Yeah. Well, he said hello to. He said what's up, everybody, and then what's going on with Boeing.
Okay.
But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, I think Boeing is not really in play right now. I think you have to wait for things to settle down, and we're not going to know that information for a while. It takes sometimes, months to get a full report of who's at fault here. So um, weird questions. No levels on the SPY. I mean, you can. I don't personally trade the SPY directly, but you could put levels on the SPYs. I mean, you could clearly see where they're at. Right, we're right back at this area of consolidation where we have seen some support and resistance in the past, right on there. You could put levels on here. I don't do it because I'm not actively going to be trading the SPY. I look at it to see where the momentum is heading to and kind of what the overall sentiment of the market is, right? If we're swinging heavily up or down, same thing with the Q. So I'm not really putting levels on there as far as that, right? See what else we got here. Big BA wildcard next few days. Yeah, I think we have to. They found it. All right. Yeah, we have to wait to see what's in there. My thing on that is, usually when you have an issue, by now this should have some information. Again, this is not in the US. In the US, you get information pretty quickly. There should be some call outs. They call it the control tower saying, hey, we have an issue, or was this just randomly just heading straight down? That usually doesn't happen like that anymore, right? So it's just strange.
Yeah, the fact that there was no Mayday call on that
Yeah,
or anything is
that's
a
not
little
good.
weird. If there, I suspect if there was a problem with the aircraft, that wasn't a sudden, uh, sudden problem that took out the pilots, that there would be a Mayday call, and we would have heard that by now.
Yeah. It's like let's see what else we got. All right, no questions, guys. We're looking pretty quiet this morning. We got a noob question. No such thing as a noob question. On my tape, I have I have a ton of stuff on your thing. Is it enough to read the tape? Ooh,
those
wow.
are all routes.
Yeah, routes. Yeah.
I don't know most of those. I would imagine. I don't know what platform you're on, so that's a tough question to answer.
Yeah, that is. It looks like you got most of them. I mean, I see Nasdaq there. I see Edge, which comes up here as well. So I think you'll be okay. I think that's enough to get a good reading. All right, guys, let's take a look at our moderators lineup this morning. Looking forward to see what they have on their list because, again, this list today is rather slim for us, and what's on there doesn't look extremely great. Definitely not a blockbuster list this morning. As I do this and resize this, guys, over on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very, very much. I have no idea how many likes we have because this number is out of whack today, but just hit it if you haven't done so already, and we appreciate it very much. All right, let's look at some of the moderators lineup here. We have Dima. She's looking at AMC, Baba, Oxy, and Apple. Mike is looking at NVIDIA, SQ, and Baba. Thor's looking at NVIDIA, Apple, Neo. Secondary is AMC and Baba there. Jared is looking at AMC, GameStop, TRY. Secondary is NVIDIA, Lucid, and Neo. He's also adding PLBI because NFTs are now cool. That's the thing. Now I think they've been cool for a while, man. They've been cool, pretty good for a while. Tiffany, Baba, AMC, secondary list Tesla and Nvidia. Amy will be looking at some potential long CHPT and not the best, and also AMD. So yeah, it's pretty light this morning. Peter is looking at AMD, Tesla, Neo, secondary list TRY and Baba, and Susan will be looking at Oxy, Apple, secondary list AMC, Baba, and Nvidia. Megan, Mara, Baba, and mRNA, and Brian, who'll be trading live with us this morning. Brian, are you in? I see he's traveling. Where are you in Europe or are you still at home? DVN, Oxy, Billy, JD, Baba, and XLE. So that is what we have today, guys. Looking forward to this market open. I'm going to be very, very patient today. It's one of those days where you sit back because if you look at our watch list, we have Oxy. Oh, Oxy's ripping here, guys. Look at that. Looking very nice. AMC getting a little bit of a bounce. You see, things are starting to look a little bit better now. We'll see. Baba not doing a whole lot, just kind of consolidating here. Apple not doing a whole lot, and then Neo also again just kind of moving sideways. So we'll see, guys. We'll see where this thing takes us today. Norm, anything that we might have missed?
No, man. You got it. I'm still waiting. I don't know that I'm seeing much today, so we'll see.
All right, excellent. All right, guys, over on YouTube, thank you so much for your patience. I know YouTube will fix this problem, as I'm sure this is costing them money. So they will have this fixed by tomorrow, and hopefully you're able to catch some parts of the show this morning. But if not, trade safe, guys. Doesn't look great out there right now. Things could change. We got a couple of minutes before the open. I don't think this will be my final list. I'll be keeping an eye on the scanners, keeping an eye on the chat to see what you guys call out. So if you see something great, yeah, Benzinga Squawk as well, which, by the way, if you're a member of the community, you have access to. That logo up there is not just there for looks. If you click on that, you can actually get some news information there. So take advantage of that. Guys, thank you. Trade safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, everyone.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.